Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Transmigrated as a Kanto gym leader. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 231, Celine sets off on her journey. Personally overseeing the formation of the world's strongest group of Elite Four and champions, this was quite an interesting endeavor. Most importantly, Dylan now had the ability, resources, and connections to make it happen. But there was no rush. The current Kanto Elite Four were still doing fine, and Red and the others hadn't fully developed yet. Red, I need to mention something to you. Charizard X and Charizard Y are different. After Mega Evolution, Charizard X becomes a Fire/Dragon type with the ability Tough Claws, making it much stronger in close combat. I think this suits you better, Dylan reminded Red. He didn't give him the Charizard Y Mega Stone, but not because he was unwilling. It just wasn't necessary. Unlike Dylan, Red had a multi-type team, and Charizard Y wouldn't contribute as much to his overall strategy. On the other hand, Charizard X, with its superior individual combat prowess and lack of major weaknesses, was naturally the better choice for Red. Thanks. Red mulled over the details of Charizard X. A solid type combination, a great ability, and his Charizard even happened to inherit the Dragon-type move Dragon Rush Perfect. The group continued chatting for a while, and Red stayed for dinner. As the night deepened, he decided to stay over. Time passed in the blink of an eye, and another week went by. During this time, Dylan made a quick trip to Pallet Town. He had Professor Oak duplicate the data from his Rotom Pokédex. Naturally, Oak took the opportunity to pester him with questions. Mainly, Oak was eager to observe the legendary Pokémon and Paradox Pokémon in Dylan's possession. Dylan didn't refuse, but just the Paradox Pokémon alone were enough to keep Professor Oak busy for a long while. Then, one day. Time really flies. At the entrance of Rhoda, Dylan gazed at the pure and lovely young girl before him, her black hair braided into twin pigtails, and sighed. In the blink of an eye, Celine, you're all grown up. That's right, today was Celine's coming-of-age day, the day she officially set off on her journey as a trainer. Of course, even though Celine was already strong enough to utterly demolish 99% of trainers, she was still, technically, a rookie setting out for the first time. At least, in theory. Dylan. The black-haired girl looked up at her gentle teacher, her eyes brimming with tears. Don't be sad, Celine. You're a trainer now, and this day was bound to come. Go and explore all of Kanto. Dylan patted Celine's slender shoulder, speaking with heartfelt sincerity. The sights you'll see, the adventures you'll experience, the encounters and opportunities along the way, all of these will become the nourishment that helps you grow. You will only continue to get stronger, rising to the peak of this region. I believe this is the future that awaits you. Dylan smiled warmly. Ever since he first met Celine, he had believed that her potential was too great to be buried. And time had proven him right. Celine was a monster. Dylan. Celine's eyes reddened slightly, her tear ducts stinging. It had only been 6 months, but this teacher in front of her had become incredibly important to her. From clueless beginnings to becoming strong, Dylan had meticulously guided her every step, providing her with Pokémon, resources, theory, and hands-on battle experience. She knew she had talent as a trainer, but she also knew that without Dylan's help, it would have taken her much, much longer to reach her current level. And now, as she finally set out on her own journey, she couldn't help feeling reluctant to leave. Who? But a strong girl doesn't cry. Celine forcefully swallowed back her tears, stepped forward, and tightly embraced her teacher. You're still acting like a kid, you're all grown up now. Dylan was momentarily surprised before he chuckled and patted the girl's back. But Rhoda Gym will always be your home. If you ever face hardships out there, just let me know, got it? No matter who it is, Dylan will make sure to teach them a lesson for you. Dylan placed his hands on Celine's shoulders, took a step back, and gently wiped away the tears at the corners of her eyes. His voice was warm and reassuring. She really was still just a child. Then again, this was her first time setting off on such a long journey. Celine pursed her lips and nodded firmly. And this, your parting gift. Dylan took out a shrunken Ultra Ball and placed it in her hand. The Tinkaton you've been wanting, I'm entrusting it to you. Take good care of it. Celine clutched the Ultra Ball tightly, her response carrying a nasal undertone, making it all the more endearing. I've already given you everything else you need. And, here's one final farewell gift. Dylan took a flower-adorned straw hat from his bag and placed it on Celine's head, adjusting it slightly before nodding in satisfaction. As expected, Celine really did look best with a hat. Very nice. My apprentice is both beautiful and strong. Do you like it? Celine touched the hat's floral decoration, her fair face breaking into a radiant smile. Then off you go. One more hug, Dylan. You little rascal. Dylan chuckled, spreading his arms as the girl leapt into them once more. Sniff. Burying her head in Dylan's chest, she took a deep breath before finally letting go, straightening herself up with newfound determination. I'm off, then. Goodbye, Dylan. Asha, Lily, Yellow, Eileen, bye-bye. Celine waved energetically, saying her farewells one by one. Bye-bye. Good luck, Celine. Take care on your journey. Goodbye, Senior Celine. Safe travels. Come back and visit often. Her friends all waved in return. Don't worry. Celine still felt reluctant to part with these familiar faces. But she understood, just as Dylan had said, she needed this journey. Only by truly experiencing adventure and hardship could she grow and refine herself. She had never forgotten her dream, to become a champion. She would make sure the name Celine was known by all. I'll head to Pallet Town first. I've already spoken with Professor Oak, you can pick a starter Pokemon from him. Huh? Is that really okay? Celine blinked in surprise. Her first Pokemon was Incineroar, a gift from Dylan long ago. Of course it's okay. Today is the official start of your journey, go ahead and pick one. Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, they're all excellent Pokemon worthy of training. Dylan chuckled. Alright. Dylan, when I come back, I'll challenge you. I'm going to earn the Rota Gym badge. I'll be waiting. Dylan laughed. He. Celine grinned, adjusting her floral straw hat before turning with a bright, carefree stride toward the horizon. As her figure disappeared into the distance, Dylan turned back to see Asha dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief. Well, she was always the sentimental type. After all, Celine was her childhood best friend, and they had spent the past 6 months together every day. If you miss her, just call her on video chat. Parting is a part of life. Dylan ruffled his receptionist's hair with a smile. He felt some emotions himself, but he knew Celine's future wasn't meant to be confined to Rota Gym. Her talent deserved a grander stage. Time flew by, and another week passed in the blink of an eye. Ever since the incident in Saffron City, Team Rocket had been keeping a low profile. Not surprising, considering they had lost 5 high-ranking executives in one blow, it was a massive setback. On top of that, the league had intensified its crackdown on Team Rocket, making their situation even more difficult. Gym Leader Group Chat. Cerulean Gym, Lily, oh my god. Some terrifying battle maniac just came to challenge my gym. Loudly crying face, we got completely wrecked. At Rota Gym, Dylan. Rota Gym, Dylan, confused.jpg. Celadon Gym, Erica, huh? What does this have to do with Dylan? Pewter Gym and Flint, I completely understand. You're talking about that girl in the straw hat, right? She's ridiculous. My Onyx almost got torn apart by her Incineroar. Loudly crying face, devastated.jpg. Rota Gym, Dylan. Cerulean Gym Daisy, our Pokemon ended up in the Pokemon Center again. Sigh, no gym challenges for us for the next 2 days. Officer Jenny, Ray, stop slacking off. Yellow card warning. Viridian Gym Giovanni, that girl used to be Dylan's apprentice, right? An outstanding rookie. No, she's far too powerful to even be called a rookie. Impressed.jpg. Saffron Gym Sabrina, peaking.jpg. Rhoda Gym Dylan, she just set off on her journey, sorry for the trouble, everyone. Viridian Gym Giovanni, it's a shame she didn't start her journey earlier in the year, otherwise, this year's Indigo League would have been a spectacle. Regret.jpg. Viridian Gym Giovanni, I've had some new insights lately. Dylan, if you're available, I'd love to spar and exchange ideas. Rhoda Gym Dylan, an invitation from Giovanni himself? I'd be honored. Officer Jenny, Ray, and everyone, pay attention. This is what an outstanding gym leader should be like. If all of you were as diligent as Giovanni and Dylan, I wouldn't be growing gray hairs so early. Sigh.jpg. Dylan chuckled as he scrolled through the messages. Looks like Celine's journey was going well. Not that he was surprised. Given her current strength, it wouldn't be long before her name spread far and wide, and that girl loved making waves. Still, Giovanni's invitation was more intriguing. At this point, Giovanni personally reaching out was definitely worth noting. After all, Dylan had taken down 6 of Team Rocket's high-ranking executives. People were already joking that he was a relentless Team Rocket executive capture machine. Interesting. This might be worth checking out. Dylan's eyes flickered with curiosity. What was Giovanni planning? There was no way he was unaware of Dylan's strength. He wouldn't be foolish enough to think that just having Mutwo would be enough to take Dylan down. Heck, even Mutwo itself probably didn't have that confidence. And with Giovanni's level of cunning, he wouldn't do something so reckless. As Dylan was about to reply to Giovanni's message, another notification popped up. Raising an eyebrow, he glanced at the sender. Looks like his meeting with Giovanni would have to wait because the message was from Zinnia. Boss, I might need to take some time off. Not sure exactly how long yet, but at least a week. Just letting you know. Having a good relationship with your subordinates really paid off. She didn't even feel the need to make excuses when asking for leave. Just a simple heads up, and that was that. Lily, how about we take a trip to Hoenn? Dylan called Lily, then decided to give Leaf a call too. After all, he had promised to take her on a trip. Hoenn region, Slateport City. Slateport City was one of the largest coastal cities in Hoenn, known as the place where the land ends and the sea begins. In the late afternoon, Dylan stepped out of the Slateport airport. Wow! The sea breeze feels amazing. Leaf removed her sunglasses, her pretty face lighting up with excitement as she gazed at the vast horizon where the sky met the ocean. She was in a fantastic mood. This was her first time visiting another region. Lily was also enjoying the scenery, holding onto her elegant white sun hat as the ocean breeze gently lifted the hem of her pink and white dress, making for a picturesque scene. Dylan! Lily! A clear, energetic voice called out. Dylan turned to see Zinnia, cloaked as usual, standing with her Swablu, Aster, at her feet. She had come to pick them up, knowing their flight arrival time in advance. Long time no see, Zinnia. Zinnia. Dylan and Lily greeted her warmly. And this is Leaf, a friend of mine. No need to be formal. Hearing Dylan's introduction, Zinnia immediately understood. Nice to meet you. I'm Zinnia, of the Draconid people. She extended her hand with a friendly smile. Nice to meet you too. Leaf was intrigued. The Draconid people? If she remembered correctly, Dylan had mentioned that his mother was one of them. Come on, the restaurant's already booked. Zinnia led the group into the city, and they settled into a private dining room at a local restaurant, chatting as they ate. You've confirmed the location of the orbs? Dylan asked Zinnia. The reason he rushed to Hoenn was because of the message she had sent him. The blue orb and red orb, the legendary artifacts linked to Kyogre and Groudon, had been found. Of course, as someone who had played the games, Dylan had always known where they were. But there was a difference between him knowing and Zinnia confirming their locations. That's right. Which is why, Dylan, I need your help. Zinnia got straight to the point. I discovered that the blue orb and red orb are in Empire, but I need to ensure that both Team Magma and Team Aqua obtain their respective orbs without realizing something's off. Zinnia explained. Team Magma and Team Aqua? Leaf blinked. If the information she had researched about Hoenn was accurate, weren't those the region's notorious criminal organizations? I've already infiltrated Team Aqua. I'll guide Archie to Empire so he can obtain the blue orb. I see. Dylan nodded. Archie and Maxie, these two dangerous individuals, obsessed with expanding the sea and land, respectively, believed that Kyogre and Groudon would help them achieve their goals. Currently, they were searching for the blue orb and red orb, the artifacts capable of awakening the ancient legends of land and sea. Team Magma, huh? Dylan turned to Lily and Leaf, a playful glint in his eye. Lily, Leaf, interested in joining Team Magma for a bit? It could be an interesting experience. Huh? Dylan. Leaf and Lily were both stunned. What did he just say? Leaf was slightly taken aback, but Lily was completely dumbfounded. Me? Join Team Magma? What kind of question is this? Chapter 232. Disguise. The Weather Institute, an important research facility located west of Furtree City. Its primary focus was studying Hoenn's weather patterns and developing technology to manipulate them. However, today, the institute was anything but peaceful. Right in front of the facility, two opposing factions were locked in a confrontation. No, rather, one side was being completely overwhelmed. Damn it! Team Aqua, don't push your luck. You bunch of pirates, we occupied this place first. A group of men and women clad in red hooded outfits gritted their teeth as they glared at their adversaries, resentment burning in their eyes. Since when had Team Magma ever suffered this kind of humiliation? Most of their Pokémon had already been defeated. With no high-ranking officers present, they had no choice but to fend for themselves. But without a commanding officer, how were they supposed to stand against the other side's leadership? Ha ha ha. Team Magma, you guys are hilarious. Just because you occupied this place first, you think it belongs to you? A burly Team Aqua grunt, dressed in blue and white pirate gear, laughed mockingly. His blatant ridicule made the Team Magma members tremble with fury. Damn it! If only Tabitha were here. A female Team Magma member bit her lip in frustration. To them, Team Aqua was the ultimate enemy. Their beliefs were fundamentally opposed. One worshipped land, the other, the sea. Not only were Team Magma and Team Aqua rivals, but they also utterly despised each other's ideologies. And now, being surrounded and taunted by Team Aqua's grunts, it was unbearable. Tabitha? That fat guy's still alive? A smooth, almost sultry voice rang out. The Team Aqua grunts parted to reveal a tall, curvaceous woman with tan skin, swaying her hips as she stepped forward. The Team Magma members immediately tensed up, their faces full of wariness. It was Shelly, a Team Aqua admin. Don't insult Lord Tabitha. Though fear lingered in their hearts, the Team Magma members refused to back down, glaring at Shelly with defiant eyes. Heh, you little runts. Why don't you run back to your precious Lord Tabitha? Shelly chuckled, clearly unconcerned with them. The Team Magma grunts hesitated. With Tabitha absent and their Pokémon already defeated, retreating seemed like the logical choice. But the thought of losing to Team Aqua was infuriating. Ugh, I can't stand watching this. Is this how things are done in Hoenn? Bullying the weak in broad daylight? A calm, magnetic voice sighed, carrying across the battlefield. Shelly looked past her subordinates and spotted three figures approaching. Leading them was a tall, brown-haired man with glasses, his face strikingly handsome yet gentle. Behind him were two young women. Are you all right? The man in white approached the defeated Team Magma members, adjusting his glasses as he spoke in a warm, reassuring tone. Don't worry, I'll protect you. Aizen, cannot stand to see the weak being oppressed. His voice remained soft and soothing, yet his gaze toward Shelley and the others turned sharp. The Team Magma members were utterly stunned. What the hell? Where did this guy come from? Who the hell are you, meddling in Team Aqua's affairs? A burly, scar-faced Team Aqua grunt scowled. Kid, you've got guts. Several Team Aqua members stepped forward, their Maitayana and Mook snarling menacingly at Aizen. Such arrogance. So, you are Team Aqua? Aizen chuckled, completely unfazed. That's right. Now take these magma fools and get lost. This facility belongs to Team Aqua now. I see. Aizen sighed softly, looking at them with what could only be described as pity. His voice remained gentle. So ignorant. Arrogance without power to back it up, what a ridiculous display. You little, what did you just say? I'll. The scar-faced grunt fumed. Something about this guy's words pissed him off so much. But before he could finish his sentence, a shadowy figure appeared silently before Aizen, a sinister-looking fox, its slitted eyes cold and calculating. Shelley's pupils contracted. When did that Pokemon appear? She hadn't even seen him release it from a Pokeball. Dark Pulse. Aizen spoke calmly. A sharp cry rang out. Zoroark brought its claws together, forming a swirling mass of black energy. In the next instant, a dark shockwave erupted forward, engulfing Team Aqua's Pokemon. Boom! A deafening explosion shook the ground as a powerful gust of wind surged outward, sending dust and debris flying. Aizen's white coat billowed dramatically in the aftermath. Casually adjusting his bangs, he maintained a faint, unreadable smile. The Team Magma grunts stood frozen, their eyes wide in disbelief. As the darkness dissipated, the battlefield was left in ruins. Maitayana, Mook, Galbut all lay unconscious on the ground. Several Team Aqua grunts, caught in the blast, groaned in pain as they sprawled helplessly on the ground. What? Shelley stared at the bespectacled man in shock. How is he this strong? Are you their leader? Aizen's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at Shelley. Zoroark's gaze locked onto her as well. A chill ran down Shelley's spine, and goosebumps spread across her skin. We're leaving. She wasted no time. Lingering would only make things worse. That trainer was terrifying, she knew she wouldn't stand a chance against him. Besides, this was just the Weather Institute. It wasn't worth the trouble. The Hoenn League wouldn't just sit by and let them occupy it for long anyway. Not to mention, the researchers had probably already called the authorities. Shelley decided to retreat for now and, more importantly, investigate this Aizen guy. That Zoroark. It's too dangerous. Pathetic. Watching Team Aqua flee, Aizen simply shook his head. Are you all alright? Turning back, he addressed the Team Magma members once more. And no, we're fine. The leading female grunt stammered, still trying to process what had just happened. What just happened? A high-level trainer randomly showed up and helped Team Magma? Sure, they weren't the most hated organization in Hoenn, but they were technically wanted criminals. Sir Aizen, do you know who we are? One of the male grunts cautiously asked. Especially after seeing that eerie Zoroark, he couldn't help but swallow nervously. Team Magma. Those guys mentioned it earlier. Aizen smiled. If I recall, Team Magma doesn't have the best reputation either. Hearing this, the Team Magma members immediately panicked. Sir Aizen, please don't misunderstand. That's all a huge misconception. That's right. We in Team Magma work for the good of all people. We only seek to expand land for a better future. Land is the foundation of human civilization. With more land, both people and Pokemon will have more space to thrive. Those Team Aqua fools are the real villains, spouting nonsense about how the sea is the source of all life. What a joke! Do they expect us to live underwater? Ridiculous. One by one, the Team Magma members passionately defended their ideals, all while ridiculing their lifelong rivals. Interesting. Aizen chuckled softly, his demeanor as composed as ever. Taking advantage of the moment, the Team Magma grunts eagerly invited Aizen and his companions into the Weather Institute. Outside the facility, Lady Courtney. Two Team Magma grunts respectfully addressed a purple-haired girl with a cold expression. Courtney, one of Team Magma's admins. Is he inside? Yes, Lord Aizen is currently on the second floor. He's strong? That's right, Lady Courtney. Lord Aizen is incredibly powerful. If he were to join us, Team Magma would have no trouble crushing Team Aqua. Courtney tilted her head in confusion, watching her two subordinates speak with such enthusiasm. She seriously wondered if this Aizen had cast some sort of spell on them. Still, she was quite curious about this trainer who had helped Team Magma. Given Team Magma's current reputation in Hoenn, recruiting new members wasn't exactly easy, especially strong trainers. When she reached the second floor, Courtney immediately spotted the white-clad man surrounded by two of her subordinates. His features were gentle and handsome, and at a glance, he seemed like the kind-hearted type. Hello, I'm Courtney, an admin of Team Magma. Courtney was straightforward and wasted no words. Nice to meet you. I'm Aizen, and these are my sisters, Bloom and Jin. Lily was now Bloom, a name Dylan had picked for her. And Leaf was Jin. Don't ask why Jin was now a girl. That was Leaf's own decision. Thank you, Lord Aizen, for assisting Team Magma. You're not from Hoenn, are you? Courtney gave Lily and Leaf a slight nod as a greeting, but she remained indifferent. She never paid much attention to people or things that didn't interest her. We're from Unova. Dylan smiled warmly. I see. Unova was quite far from Hoenn. Courtney pondered this briefly. Just then. Lady Courtney, bad news. The League is on its way, and leading them is Wallace. What? Courtney's expression changed as she quickly moved to the window. Looking out, she saw a group of people approaching the Weather Institute, led by a strikingly handsome, green-haired young man draped in a white cape. It was really Wallace. Courtney's usually calm face grew serious. Wallace was the current champion of Hoenn. Someone of that caliber was far beyond her ability to handle. But this didn't make sense. Why was Wallace here? Was it just her terrible luck that he happened to be nearby? Her mind raced for solutions, but at the moment, she couldn't think of a way out. Miss Courtney, you should take your people and leave through the back. I'll hold them off for a while. A gentle yet firm voice reached Courtney's ears, making her pause. Lord Aizen. That's Wallace we're talking about. Courtney hesitated, offering a reminder. Many in Hoenn believed Wallace might not be as strong as the former champion, Stephen, but regardless, he was undeniably a champion-level trainer. A champion. I know. But I have a bit of confidence in my own strength. Stalling for time won't be difficult. Dylan smiled, his expression completely at ease. Understood. I'll stay and fight alongside you, Lord Aizen. Courtney stared at Dylan, her gaze shifting with uncertainty before she finally calmed herself and went to gather the Team Magma members. As an admin, it was her responsibility to ensure the safe retreat of her subordinates. Meanwhile, Dylan gazed out the window at Wallace's approaching figure and suddenly spoke up. You guys think it'd be a problem if I gave Wallace a good beating? It wasn't every day one got the chance to beat up a regional champion in broad daylight. Lily, Wouldn't that be bad? Wait, no, we're in disguise right now, beat him up. Leaf was momentarily stunned but quickly realized the situation, her voice rising in excitement. But be careful not to blow our cover, or that'd be awkward. Dylan pondered which Pokemon to use. After all, he was currently operating under the alias Aizen and planning to join Team Magma. What? You're saying Dylan beat up the Hoenn champion? Do you have any proof? There were so many witnesses. Wallace was clearly beaten down by Team Magma's villainous mastermind, Aizen. What does that have to do with Dylan? Chapter 233, I'm a fan. The villainous Team Magma. Officer Jenny stood before the Weather Institute, fuming with frustration. The institute was a legitimate research facility, yet these criminals had dared to attack and occupy it in broad daylight. Broad daylight. It was as if they had no regard for the Hoenn League at all. Officer Jenny, have the area completely surrounded. Don't let any Team Magma members escape. A smooth, elegant voice issued the command. It belonged to Wallace, the champion of Hoenn, who stood beside her with his refined demeanor. Yes, sir. Officer Jenny responded sharply, immediately instructing her team to block all possible exits. Sigh. Wallace let out a soft sigh as he looked at the Weather Institute. Originally, he had been on his way to Slateport City as a guest for a Pokemon contest. But as fate would have it, he happened to pass by and saw Officer Jenny's unit mobilizing for a raid on Team Magma. As Hoenn's reigning champion, he naturally couldn't just ignore it, especially given his own sense of justice. To Wallace, Team Magma and Team Aqua were both utterly deranged organizations. One worshipped land, the other worshipped the sea. But wanting to massively expand land or sea? That was pure lunacy. Land and sea were both essential to the balance of the world. Of course, Wallace loved the ocean, he was a water-type specialist, after all. He adored water Pokemon and the vast, beautiful sea. But that had nothing to do with wanting to expand the ocean. He simply couldn't understand the twisted logic of Team Aqua. And despite their grandiose claims of expanding land or expanding the sea, both organizations engaged in blatant criminal activity, stealing Pokemon, hijacking submarines, and now even taking over research facilities. Absolute nonsense. Wallace sighed again. By now, he should have already been in Slateport City. Meanwhile, that damn Steven was probably off digging up rare stones in some remote cave. That bastard tricked him into becoming champion and then ran off to do whatever he wanted. What kind of friend does that? Wallace cursed Steven internally. And speaking of Steven, Wallace suddenly remembered how strange his friend had been a few months ago. The last time they spoke, Steven's tone had been completely off. Come to think of it, they hadn't talked in months. Steven used to call him at least once a month. Wallace's mind drifted. Quite the spectacle, huh? Wallace snapped back to reality as a voice rang out. Looking up, he saw 4 figures walking out of the Weather Institute. Team Magma. You villains! How dare you attack the Weather Institute? Officer Jenny glared at Dylan's group, her voice filled with righteous anger. She had zero tolerance for criminals who blatantly broke the law. Officer Jenny, no need to be so agitated. If you immediately label us as criminals, it puts us in a difficult position. Dylan remained completely unfazed, maintaining a warm smile. We didn't attack anyone. We were simply using the institute as a place to rest and recover. Courtney stared blankly at Dylan's calm demeanor, momentarily at a loss for words. Can you really just say that? And where are the researchers? Officer Jenny narrowed her eyes. Oh, they were so welcoming that they got a little too excited. To avoid any accidents, we asked them to take a moment to calm down in another room. Dylan spoke as if it were the most natural thing in the world, his tone unhurried and graceful. You! Officer Jenny was furious. What calming down in another room? That was just a polite way of saying they had locked up all the researchers. That's so ungraceful. Wallace sighed. Ladies and gentlemen of Team Magma, your actions violate Hoenn League regulations. Would you kindly surrender? Wallace's voice was exceptionally gentle, almost androgynous in its tone. Just like his appearance, so unreasonably beautiful that his fair complexion looked even softer than a woman's. If he dressed in feminine clothes and wore a wig, he could probably pass as a stunning lady. My apologies, Champion Wallace, but surely you're joking. Dylan turned to Wallace, studying him curiously. Wallace, Hoenn's current champion. Originally the Setopolis city gym leader, he had later ascended to the top of the Hoenn League. And he wasn't just a champion. Wallace was also a descendant of the ancient people of Setopolis. In the games, Wallace possessed the ability to unlock the Sky Pillar's seal due to this heritage.
I see.
Wallace frowned slightly, his elegant brow furrowing. He let out a small sigh before extending his hand from beneath his white cape. A Ludicolo with a green lily pad hat and a rotund body cheerfully hopped forward. This isn't exactly graceful, but I'm on a tight schedule.
All of you, come at me at once.
Wallace casually flicked his hair, his tone calm and composed.
Come at me at once.
The confidence of a champion.
Oh? Dylan raised an eyebrow.
Lily and Leaf exchanged glances, their expressions somewhat amused. Courtney, however, became serious. She immediately reached for her pokeball, ready to send out her Camerupt. After all, Wallace was Hoenn's champion.
The title wasn't just for show.
A champion was, by definition, the strongest trainer in the region.
This wasn't an exaggeration, it was fact. A champion's position was determined purely by strength. Anyone strong enough to defeat the current champion could take their place.
With Steven now retired, Wallace was undeniably the strongest trainer in Hoenn.
Wallace, you sure you want to talk like that? You're not worried about eating your words? Dylan twirled a minimized Ultra Ball between his fingers, his tone playful as he watched Wallace.
Bold words,
What a headache.
Wallace blinked in slight surprise, then rubbed his temple as if genuinely troubled.
Has Team Magma really become so bold as to look down on the Hoenn League?
You seem to misunderstand something, Champion Wallace.
I am.
Wallace slightly tilted his head, his expression gradually turning colder.
Wallace.
Before he even finished speaking, Ludicolo launched forward like a bullet, aiming directly at Dylan's group.
So fast. Courtney's pupils contracted.
The sheer speed at which Ludicolo attacked caught her completely off guard. She instinctively reached for her pokeball.
But too late.
She wouldn't make it in time.
Not even close. Before Camerupt could even emerge, Ludicolo would already be upon them. Bam! A heavy impact thundered through the air.
The sheer force made Courtney's ears ring. Ludicolo flew backward as if it had been struck by a speeding truck, crashing to the ground with a pained cry.
Silence. For a moment, the entire battlefield fell into stunned silence.
Officer Jenny and her officers stared, dumbfounded. Even Wallace was momentarily speechless. As Ludicolo struggled to rise, Wallace slowly turned his gaze toward Dylan's Pokémon. A white-furred beast with a wild, dragon-like mane. Crimson eyes, bloodshot and feral. Thick, muscular limbs bound by black iron cuffs.
Annihilate.
A terrifying presence radiated from the ghost/fighting-type Pokémon.
Courtney's jaw nearly dropped as she stared at Dylan and his Annihilate in shock. How, are you this strong? Officer Jenny finally blurted out. Oh? Well, I should ask you, Officer Jenny. When exactly did you get the impression that I wasn't this strong? Dylan adjusted his glasses, a faint smile playing on his lips.
Officer Jenny was at a loss for words.
Who are you?
Wallace's gaze turned serious. Ludicolo was one of his main Pokémon, not his ace, but still champion level. Even if it had been caught off guard, knocking it back in one hit was no ordinary feat.
Aizen. Honored Champion Wallace, you may call me Aizen. Dylan remained the epitome of grace, polite and refined as ever. Aizen?
Wallace quickly searched his memory, but he found nothing. He couldn't recall any information about this name. No matter how hard he tried, he had never heard of such a trainer, whether in Hoenn or any other region. But with such overwhelming strength, how is that possible?
You're this strong, yet you choose to align yourself with Team Magma?
Wallace furrowed his brows, clearly unable to understand.
That has nothing to do with you, Champion Wallace.
I have no intention of fighting you so long as you let us leave.
Dylan adjusted his glasses, a polite smile on his face as he looked at Wallace and Officer Jenny. How about we all just pretend nothing happened today? Aizen, surely you must be joking.
Wallace threw Dylan's words right back at him.
Then, he calmly opened a Pokeball.
A flash of white light revealed a stunningly elegant Pokemon, its serpent-like form gliding gracefully onto the battlefield.
Wallace's ace, Milotic. So, we're really doing this, huh?
Dylan's tone sounded a little helpless, but his face showed no trace of reluctance.
If possible, I would rather not battle a trainer like you, Eisen.
Wallace's gaze remained sharp. His instincts told him this Eisen was likely the strongest opponent he had faced since becoming champion of Hoenn.
Damn it, Steven, you bastard. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have to deal with a trainer this strong. Wallace cursed his friend internally.
He had been perfectly happy as the Setopolis gym leader, living a carefree life. And here I thought I was just going to take it easy today, but I guess I have to trouble you a bit, Champion Wallace.
Dylan opened another Pokeball.
Zoroark. A shadowy, fox-like figure materialized in front of him, its eerie, crimson eyes locking onto Milotic and Ludicolo.
Annihilate and Zoroark?
Wallace frowned slightly as he stared at the two Pokemon before him. Just by appearance alone, they looked like trouble. What kind of world was this? Why was a Team Magma member this ridiculous?
Annihilate, Shadow Sneak.
Zoroark, Dark Pulse. Annihilate cocked its head to the side, then silently faded into an open rift in space.
Zoroark brought its claws together, a swirling black energy rapidly expanding between them. With a flick of its arms, the pulsating mass of dark energy shot forward toward Ludicolo and Milotic. A powerful dark pulse. Hydro Pump. Wallace didn't hesitate.
Milotic and Ludicolo immediately fired off two massive torrents of water, colliding head-on with Dark Pulse.
Boom!
The three attacks clashed violently, energy rippling outward.
But Dark Pulse wasn't overpowered. Wallace's eyes narrowed. What? Milotic and Ludicolo's combined Hydro Pump failed to break through the attack? How is this possible? A rift in space suddenly opened beside Milotic.
Emerging from the darkness, a terrifying, snarling Annihilate, fist glowing with eerie energy. Simultaneously, Zoroark rushed forward at high speed toward Milotic.
Milotic, Scald.
Wallace reacted quickly, issuing an immediate command.
Milotic shot out a jet of steaming hot water toward Annihilate. Annihilate swung its glowing fist downward, Shadow Sneak.
Scald and Shadow Sneak collided midair in a fierce exchange.
Ludicolo, Energy Ball.
Ludicolo hopped, forming a glowing green sphere in its hands before launching it toward Zoroark.
Champion Wallace, did you know? Dylan's lips curved slightly. Your eyes can deceive you. Wallace's heart skipped a beat. What?
Before he could process Dylan's words, Ludicolo's energy ball struck the oncoming Zoroark, but
it passed right through. Right through? Wallace's brows knitted together. A substitute? No, that wasn't right.
If it were a substitute, it would dissipate into white mist upon impact.
This was something else. An illusion. Wallace's eyes widened in realization.
The Zoroark that had just attacked wasn't real at all. It was a visual trick, an illusion crafted by Zoroark's ability, illusion. Every Zoroark possessed the potential to become a master of illusions, this was their innate power. According to records, a powerful Zoroark could trap hundreds of people in a massive hallucination at once, or even create entire false landscapes to make people believe they were lost in a never-ending maze. And clearly, the Zoroark that had just charged forward was nothing more than a fabricated image.
So, Champion Wallace, now that you understand, where do you think the real Zoroark is?
Dylan still wore a warm, polite smile. But to Wallace, that smile now seemed unnerving.
Thud. Thud.
Suddenly, Wallace heard several bodies hitting the ground.
His heart jumped. Quickly turning around, he saw a black blur flashed behind Officer Jenny.
With a swift, precise movement, Zoroark's claw struck the back of her neck. Officer Jenny let out a soft grunt, then collapsed.
Zoroark slowly raised its head, its eerie fox-like eyes locking onto Wallace. That unsettling gaze sent chills down Wallace's spine. Jenny!
Wallace instantly grabbed another pokeball, and Ludicolo leaped toward Zoroark.
Bam!
Meanwhile, Annihilape had shattered Milotic's skull and slammed its fist directly into Milotic's face.
Milotic let out a cry of pain as it was sent crashing to the ground. But Wallace didn't even have time to react to that. Aizen! Wallace turned to Dylan, anger rising. This guy just had Zoroark knock out Officer Jenny. What was he trying to do? Relax, no need to get so worked up, Champion Wallace. Dylan's voice remained as calm as ever. Zoroark was very precise. Jenny and the others aren't hurt. They're just taking a nap. Wallace clenched his fists. After all, they would definitely try to stop me from what I'm about to do next. Wallace's stomach dropped. A very bad feeling crept over him. What exactly are you planning? Dylan smiled. It would be a shame if a face as pretty as yours wasn't properly photographed. He reached into his bag and pulled out a camera. Wallace? Dylan lifted the camera with a bright, almost innocent grin. Champion Wallace, I'm actually a huge fan of yours. Wallace, what the hell? Chapter 234, You Have to Avenge Me. For Wallace, today was absolutely horrible. He had been so excited to head to Slateport City to attend his beloved Pokémon contest. He had been so happy. But now? Not anymore. This was the worst day of his life. It wasn't just that his proudest and most beloved Milotic had been pinned to the ground by a hideous, savage Annihilape and forced into all sorts of shameful poses. Why did he have to do it too? Yes, that's perfect, Champion Wallace. Lift your leg a little higher, yes, arch your back slightly, gaze a little more longing, yes. That's exactly the look I want. Click. Click. Wallace lay there, face blank, back arched in an elegant pose as Zoroark supported him in its muscular arms. Of course, Zoroark wasn't in its usual form. It had transformed into a hulking, bearded, muscle-bound man. A hyper-masculine giant holding an elegant, delicate beauty. A truly artistic composition. Meanwhile, Lily, Leaf, and Courtney stood in a row at the side, completely stunned. Perfect, Champion Wallace. Dylan beamed as he flipped through the photos and videos he had taken. After thoroughly beating down Milotic and Ludicolo, he had politely invited Wallace to participate in an artistic photoshoot. Using Officer Jenny and the others as leverage, Wallace had no choice but to swallow his pride and force himself to endure this humiliation. And so, the domineering CEO cornering his lover against the wall. The bridal carry. The tragic farewell. The romantic entanglement. Milotic wrapping its body around its beloved trainer. And more. At this point, Wallace was completely numb. Are we done now? His voice was utterly flat, all emotion drained. It had been an hour. He had been tortured for a full hour. Meanwhile, Officer Jenny and the others had already woken up. However, while they had been unconscious, Courtney, Leaf, and a very nervous Lily had taken the opportunity to tie them all up. Now, they were locked away inside the Weather Institute. Something's still missing. How about this, Champion Wallace? Why don't you try this outfit? Dylan flipped through the photos again, but something still felt lacking. He thought for a moment, then pulled out an outfit and handed it to Wallace. Wallace froze. Teacher Wallace? What teacher? Was this an insult? Wallace gritted his teeth and snatched the clothing. But when he unfolded it, his fair, delicate face immediately darkened. You bastard, Aizen! Wallace clenched Gyarados' pokeball, glaring daggers at Dylan. You've gone too far. I'll fight you to the end. By now, Wallace knew full well that Aizen was stronger than him. He was no match for him. That much had been painfully clear from their battle earlier. For the safety of Officer Jenny and the others, he had forced himself to endure the Muscle Man Zoroark photoshoot. For the sake of the League. But now? This damn villain had actually handed him a dress. A pink, frilly, floral dress. Was this guy even human? He was a man. A strong, independent man.
Yes, maybe his usual outfits were a bit on the stylish side, but that didn't mean he would wear a dress.
Unacceptable. Unforgivable.
Now, Champion Wallace, no need to get so worked up.
We can talk this through. Dylan calmly soothed the furious man. Art required passion and patience. Some people just needed time to appreciate its beauty. There's nothing to talk about.
I refuse to wear this.
Absolutely not. Wallace's voice was firm.
He was Hoen's champion. A top-tier contest master.
There was no way in hell he would wear a frilly pink dress. Leaf, pft. Lily. Courtney. I see. Well, we'll leave it for next time then.
Dylan sighed regretfully.
Wallace's resistance was quite strong. Oh well. But Champion Wallace, I do believe that if this photoshoot is released, you'll become world famous. There is no next time. And it better never be released.
Wallace vehemently rejected the notion.
World famous? More like socially dead across all of Hoenn. Underneath his cape, Wallace's hands furiously tapped at his phone. Steven. Where the hell is Steven? Come save your damn friend already. Well then, Champion Wallace, you can wear this instead.
Dylan tossed a small bag at him.
Question mark. Wallace caught it, glancing at Dylan suspiciously before opening it.
And his face darkened again.
Eisen. What? Champion Wallace, don't tell me you've never worn a swimsuit before? Dylan raised an eyebrow. Wallace fell into deep thought. Champion Wallace, I've been very generous to you. It's either the floral dress or the swimsuit. Dylan's smile was warm and gentle.
But this is your punishment for losing.
Damn it. Wallace's hands shook. Between a frilly dress and a swimsuit. Yes. The swimsuit was the lesser evil. It was just swimwear. People wore swimwear all the time. It was fine. And so. Yes. Champion Wallace. Hold the rose in your mouth, now sit in the duck pose, yes, yes. That bashful, sultry expression. Absolutely stunning. Dylan clicked away enthusiastically. Eisen. Wallace's humiliated screams echoed. This was, without a doubt, the worst day of his life. By the time it was all over, Wallace had no idea how much time had passed. But at the very least, he had protected his last shred of dignity. He did not wear the dress. Ah, what a satisfying day. Champion Wallace, I look forward to our next meeting.
Hopefully, by then, you'll abandon your silly notions of shame and embrace art.
Dylan smiled at his camera. Still, it was a bit of a shame.
Next time, he had to make sure Wallace wore the dress. Oh, and of course, he would be sending all these photos to Steven.
Wallace? Dylan turned with a flourish. Goodbye, Champion Wallace. With that, he led Lily, Leaf, and Courtney away. Wallace took a deep breath. Then another. He steadied his trembling hands and pulled out his phone.
He had kept it on silent the entire time to avoid suspicion.
The moment he checked it, dozens of missed calls from Steven. And a new message. Steven, Wallace, what's wrong? I called you like 10 times and you didn't answer. And what do you mean by come save me?
Hearing his friend's familiar voice, Wallace felt a lump in his throat. He thought back to the absolute nightmare he had just endured. And finally, he broke down. Steven, I was humiliated. You have to avenge me. Ha? Meanwhile. Pfft, ha 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 ha. That was hilarious. Wallace's expressions. Just priceless. Leaf finally burst out laughing, clutching her stomach. Back at the Weather Institute, she had been struggling to hold it in, afraid that laughing on the spot would push Wallace over the edge. Lily's expression was also complicated. Brother, was it really okay to do that to Champion Wallace? Lily still felt a little guilty. After all, they had no real grudge against him. She was a kind and pure-hearted girl, and what they had just done felt a little wrong. Don't worry, Lily. We just took some harmless photos of him. Dylan ruffled her hair with a reassuring smile. In fact, he was already thinking about what outfit Wallace should wear next time. Oh, and these photos? Definitely sending them to Stephen. That was going to be entertaining. Miss Courtney, you should check in with your subordinates and see how they're doing. Dylan glanced at Courtney. She had been unusually quiet. No, more like she was completely spaced out, as if lost in thought. Oh, right. Courtney snapped out of her daze, quickly pulling out her communicator. She contacted the Team Magma members who had escaped earlier and confirmed their safety before instructing them to regroup at the nearest base. Lord Eisen, I cannot thank you enough for your assistance today. After ensuring her team's safety, Courtney stepped back and bowed deeply to Dylan. She was fully aware that if it weren't for him, she would have definitely ended up behind bars today. As for expecting Maxie to rescue her? Yeah, not happening. Courtney was loyal to Maxie, but she wasn't stupid. She knew Maxie didn't have the strength to break her out if she got captured. There's no need for thanks. It was simply fate that we crossed paths. Dylan's smile remained warm and composed. Besides, I find your organization quite interesting. I wonder, Miss Courtney, would you be able to introduce me to your leader? It would be our honor. Courtney immediately agreed. After all, she had seen it with her own eyes. Dylan had completely crushed Wallace, Hoen's current champion. That wasn't just impressive. That was unbelievable. The thought of having a champion-level ally in Team Magma thrilled her. Of course, she had considered whether Dylan had ulterior motives. But realistically? Why would the Hoenn League send a champion-level trainer to infiltrate Team Magma? They weren't that important, right? If they were, she, a Team Magma admin, should definitely know about it. Lord Eisen, your strength is truly astonishing. But I don't believe I've ever heard of you before? Courtney's tone was respectful, but her curiosity was unmistakable. Because my brother never challenged any leagues before, Lily answered smoothly. That was the cover story they had agreed upon before coming here. As for how they conveniently encountered the Team Magma and Team Aqua conflict at the Weather Institute? That was thanks to Leaf. Since Leaf had infiltrated Team Aqua, she had access to valuable intelligence. Ah, I see. That makes sense. If not, with Lord Eisen's strength, you would have long since become champion. Courtney's gem-like violet eyes gleamed with admiration. The more she thought about it, the more intrigued she became by Dylan. Still, she was careful not to pry too much. If they became true allies, she'd have plenty of chances to learn more in the future. Team Magma's base. Arriving at one of Team Magma's secret bases, Courtney led Dylan and the others into her office. Boss isn't here right now, so we'll have to video call him instead. I hope you don't mind, Lord Eisen. No problem. One moment, please. Courtney turned on her computer and initiated a video call. After a few seconds, the screen lit up. A thin, bespectacled middle-aged man with slicked-back red hair appeared. His expression was calm and calculating, his eyes sharp with intelligence. This was Maxie, the leader of Team Magma. Lord Maxie, I've long admired your name. Dylan greeted him with a smile. Lord Eisen, I've already heard from Courtney about the situation. I am truly grateful for your assistance to our organization. Maxie's deep, composed voice carried an air of authority. He adjusted his glasses as he studied Dylan. Someone capable of defeating Wallace so easily, Maxie was sure Courtney wouldn't lie about such a thing. If it was true, then having someone like Eisen as an ally would be invaluable. That said, Maxie was cautious. After all, Eisen was a powerful champion-level trainer.
Maxie was intelligent enough to keep his guard up. It was nothing, Lord Maxie. Just a small favor. Dylan's tone was casual. Tell me, your organization seeks to expand the land, correct? That's right.
I firmly believe that humanity's progress and the well-being of the world are closely linked.
However, there is simply not enough land to sustain us all. Maxie spoke passionately.
If we could expand the landmass, it would increase living space for both people and Pokemon, allowing for better lives and greater prosperity.
Land is our foundation. For the sake of future generations, we must expand it.
His voice was firm, his conviction absolute.
Dylan nodded thoughtfully. I agree with that notion. Both Maxie and Courtney's eyes lit up with excitement. But it won't be easy, Lord Maxie. Expanding the land is practically impossible. Dylan shook his head. No, it's absolutely possible. Lord Eisen, have you heard of Groudon?
Maxie's voice turned serious.
The legendary Groudon? Exactly.
According to ancient myths, Groudon is the Pokemon that created the land.
If we can awaken it, we can use its power to expand the earth.
Maxie's eyes burned with determination.
I see. Dylan pretended to be deep in thought.
In fact, we've already pinpointed Groudon's location.
However, we still need something essential to awaken it, the red orb. The red orb? Yes. Why? Is there a problem?
Not exactly, but I did pass by Endupire recently. I heard an old couple at the summit might have a red orb in their possession.
What? Maxie's expression immediately changed. Are you certain?
Yes. Though, I can't say for sure whether it's the red orb you're looking for.
That doesn't matter.
We can verify it ourselves.
Maxie took a deep breath, forcing himself to stay calm. Still, he was clearly excited. Dylan's lips curled slightly. Too easy. Meanwhile, in a rest area in Tree City, Wallace and Steven finally met. Steven, what happened to you? Wallace was genuinely stunned as he took in his friend's appearance.
The dashing, ever-composed Steven Stone, the man he knew to be flawless in every way, now sat before him looking haggard, even unshaven.
What the hell happened? Just dealing with some things.
Steven was silent for a moment before sighing in resignation. Ever since his conversation with Dylab, he had been struggling with the emotional toll it had taken on him. On one side, his morals, his integrity, and his belief in justice. On the other, his father, the man who had always loved and supported him unconditionally.
This internal conflict tormented him.
Wallace furrowed his brows, deeply concerned as he studied his closest friend. He couldn't even imagine what could have happened to make Steven fall apart like this.
To Wallace, Steven was the definition of perfection. Smart. Strong. Charming. With a flawless background to match. What could have possibly broken him like this? And you?
Steven glanced at Wallace, noticing the way he was staring at him.
You look like you've been through something, too.
Steven chuckled lightly, trying to shift the topic. I rushed over here in such a hurry, I didn't even wash my face.
Wallace took a deep breath. Then another. And finally. Steven. Steven blinked. I was humiliated.
Wallace's voice was low and grave.
You have to avenge me. Steven, huh? Wallace sighed heavily before launching into his tale of suffering.
It was Team Magma.
I was outnumbered.
And Steven, you won't believe this, they actually had a champion-level member.
Steven's eyes narrowed. A champion-level trainer, in Team Magma? Yes. And insanely powerful. Even I couldn't defeat him.
If I hadn't sacrificed myself, I fear both I and Officer Jenny's team would have been at his mercy.
Wallace clenched his fists. Steven frowned deeply. Even Wallace lost? That wasn't good news.
I'm sorry I wasn't there sooner, Steven muttered. Clearly, we need to take Team Magma more seriously.
Exactly. That monster is far too strong. Stephen, I honestly doubt even you could beat him.
Wallace gritted his teeth at the bitter memory. That devil had promised not to release the photos. But still, the psychological scars remained.
Stephen nodded. He trusted Wallace. If Wallace said this trainer was champion level, then he was. That alone was concerning enough. But
there was one thing that still puzzled Stephen.
If this Team Magma member was so powerful, then how exactly had Wallace escaped? What sacrifice had he made? Just as that thought crossed his mind. Ding! 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 Stephen's phone exploded with notification pings.
A flood of new messages.
Pictures. Videos. Stephen tapped one open. He scrolled. Paused. Scrolled again. Then stopped.
For a long moment, he said nothing.
Wallace took another sip of his coffee, noticing the sudden silence. Stephen? Stephen's expression was indescribable.
His entire perspective on the situation shifted in an instant.
Now he understood.
Now, he truly understood what Wallace meant by sacrifice.
Dear Arceus.
His eyes burned. His soul wept.
His sanity cracked. Wallace. Wallace frowned at Stephen's tone. What? Stephen, why are you looking at me like that?
Stephen slowly lifted his gaze. Wallace felt a shiver crawl down his spine.
This expression. This wasn't respect. This wasn't sympathy. This was something else entirely. Stephen's lips parted. Your poses are surprisingly elegant. Wallace?
Stephen gave him a slow thumbs up.
You really sold it. Stephen. Wallace's grip tightened around his cup. You bastard. Stephen's lips curved upward.
His voice was filled with mock admiration.
Wallace. I think you'd look stunning in a dress. Wallace. What the hell? Chapter 235, Send Them to Me. Mtepire, also known as the Sacred Resting Mountain. This place serves as the Pokemon Cemetery of the Hoenn region, located on a small island southwest of Lily Cove City.
Within its confines rest the souls of deceased Pokemon, making it a peaceful and sacred place. However, today, the tranquility of Mtepire was abruptly shattered. At the summit of Mtepire, an elderly couple resided there. They seemed ordinary, but they were the guardians of two extraordinary orbs.
No, we cannot give these to you.
The elderly woman trembled in fear, continuously retreating while shaking her head at the group before her.
We have come for the future of humanity, ma'am. I hope you can understand and hand over the orbs to us.
Maxie's voice was calm as his gaze, hidden behind his glasses, fixated on the two boxes in the old woman's arms. Behind him stood Dylan, along with Tabitha, Courtney, and several other Team Magma members. Indeed, upon learning from Dylan that the red orb might be at Mtepire, Maxie had wasted no time rushing to the location.
To awaken Groudon, the orbs were necessary.
Moreover, Maxie knew well that the red orb contained a portion of Groudon's dormant power.
No matter what, the red orb was essential. I cannot.
These orbs are of immense importance. The old woman still refused. Though she was terrified, she knew these orbs were deeply connected to Hoenn's ancient legends.
And since Team Magma was a criminal organization, how could she possibly hand them over?
Indeed, they are of great importance. I admire your bravery, ma'am, but I do not wish to harm you.
Or, do you not care about the countless peaceful Pokemon resting here in Mtepire? Maxie's voice remained indifferent. You.
The old woman trembled all over. I do not wish to go that far, so please, hand over the orbs.
I understand. Left with no choice, the elderly woman conceded. Compared to everything else, the resting souls of the Pokemon in Mtepire mattered more. Tabitha stepped forward, about to take the two orbs, when suddenly,
Hold it right there! A thunderous shout echoed across the summit. Everyone turned their heads to see a group of Team Aqua members in blue uniforms rushing onto the scene. Leading them was a burly, middle-aged man, Archie. Maxie narrowed his eyes behind his glasses. Tisk, almost too late. Don't worry, old man and lady, with me here, these scrawny magma goons won't be laying a finger on you. Archie grinned widely, attempting to reassure the frightened elderly couple, though his grin only made them more terrified.
Dylan, a Jew, adjusted his non-prescription glasses, immediately spotting Zinnia among Archie's group.
The mischievous girl playfully winked at him. Well, it was hard not to notice her. One side was entirely clad in red, the other entirely in blue, while Dylan's group and Zinnia stood out as anomalies.
Brainless fool. Never seen you do anything good, but you sure are a natural at being a nuisance. Maxie coldly glared at Archie.
The two were longtime rivals, well acquainted with each other's antics. Under normal circumstances, Maxie would have found Archie's interference troublesome. But this time was different.
Because he had Eisen with him. Ha ha ha. Maxie, if you don't want me to beat you into the dirt, you'd better scram.
Archie's boisterous laughter rang out as he taunted Maxie. He had no interest in unnecessary chatter, his goal was clear. The blue orb was his.
And if he could snatch the red orb from Maxie while he was at it? Even better. Ha! Maxie let out a dry chuckle.
There was nothing to say, talking to this muscle-brained idiot was an insult to his intelligence.
Then there was only one option: battle. Without hesitation, Team Magma and Team Aqua clashed, launching into an all-out war. Eisen, please retrieve the red orb,
Maxie said in a low voice to Dylan. He had complete confidence if Dylan wanted to take it, no one could stop him.
Leave it to me. Dylan nodded. Maxie, you bastard. Come fight me already. Ha ha ha.
I'll knock the crap out of you today. Archie's raucous laughter boomed across the battlefield. Maxie adjusted his glasses, his expression unreadable. The skirmish between Team Magma and Team Aqua had erupted into a full-scale brawl, a fierce and chaotic battle. Their rivalry ran deep. The very ideologies of the two organizations were fundamentally opposed, making any peaceful coexistence impossible. Whenever they encountered each other in the wild, a battle was inevitable. And now, with both sides competing for these legendary orbs, Maxie and Archie had also joined the fray. But their strength was evenly matched, neither could gain the upper hand quickly.
Ma'am, could you please hand the orbs to us? Dylan, accompanied by Leaf and Lily, approached the elderly couple with a gentle smile.
A few oblivious Team Aqua grunts tried to interfere, only to be swiftly persuaded by Zoroark.
All right.
The elderly couple, terrified by the chaos around them, quickly handed over the two boxes to Dylan.
Here, take them and leave quickly. Don't worry, we only came for the orbs. We won't touch anything else here. Dylan reassured them with a smile.
Opening the box on the left, he was greeted by a radiant red gemstone.
Embedded in its flawless surface was a golden Omega symbol, the Omega mark. So this is the red orb?
Leaf and Lily peered curiously.
That's right. This holds the dormant power of the ancient Groudon. Dylan confirmed.
With this, Groudon could undergo primal reversion. But at that moment, a powerful gust of wind surged through the battlefield. Dylan accidentally let go of the other box, which flew into the hands of a caped girl behind him.
The blue orb is ours.
Zinnia beamed as an Altaria hovered above her, the very Pokémon responsible for the sudden gust.
Ha ha ha. Well done, Zinnia.
Archie, still locked in combat with Maxie, burst into laughter as he praised her.
Boss, we've got trouble. The League is here.
A panicked Team Aqua grunt shouted from the stairway entrance.
What? Archie's expression darkened.
On his way up, he had wiped out the Team Magma grunt stationed below and left his own men to guard the path. Now, realizing the situation, he had no choice but to abandon his fight with Maxie. The blue orb was already in their possession, there was no point in staying.
Matt! Archie called out. Matt, standing near Zinnia, took the blue orb from her and confirmed its authenticity before giving Archie a firm nod. Ha ha ha. I'll let you off this time, Maxie. But once I awaken Kyogre. Team Magma. Team Aqua. You dare defile this sacred place? Before Archie could finish his arrogant proclamation, a commanding voice interrupted. Several figures had arrived at the summit, their eyes blazing with fury at the battlefield before them. Mjpire was Hoenn's largest Pokemon cemetery, a place where Pokemon found eternal rest, yet these two criminal organizations had dared to turn it into a battleground. Damn it! It's Steven and Wallace. Maxie's heart sank. Standing at the forefront of the League enforcers were none other than Steven and Wallace, Hoenn's former and current champions. This was a disaster. And when he saw Steven's Metagross and Wallace's Milotic at the ready, he knew things were about to get much worse. Boss, what do we do now? Sweat poured down the forehead of Team Magma's admin, Tabitha. This was no joke. It didn't matter that they had more people, this wasn't a battle of numbers. Wallace alone could wipe them all out without even breaking a sweat. Cold sweat trickled down Maxie's forehead as his mind raced for a solution. But there was no way around it. The power gap was simply too great. Even if Tabitha and Courtney stayed behind as a distraction, it wouldn't be enough. Meanwhile, Wallace's gaze locked onto Dylan. A tall man in a pristine white coat, handsome features, and glasses, his appearance was unmistakable. Wallace's expression turned serious. So, he's here too. But then, as he glanced at Steven beside him, his worries faded instantly. Great! I've got my bro Steven. Dylan, you're finished today. Gentlemen, you should leave. I'll hold them off. Dylan stepped up beside Maxie, handing him the red orb. Aizen? Maxie was taken aback. For the dream of expanding land, we cannot stop here, can we? Take to the skies with your Pokemon, I'll handle this. I see. I'm counting on you, Aizen. Maxie quickly made his decision, nodding sullenly at Dylan. He knew this was their best option. Dylan was at a champion level of strength, only he could act as their last line of defense. On the other side, Zinnia was also instructing Archie and Matt to retreat while she stayed behind. There was no time for sentimentality. Though Archie didn't want to leave one of his own behind, at this moment, he had no choice. I won't let you escape. Steven, now clean-shaven and dressed sharply in his suit, commanded his Metagross. Psychic. Metagross's eyes gleamed with a deep blue light as an invisible force attempted to lock onto the retreating Maxie and his team. But at that moment, a black shadow flickered toward Metagross. A dark-type sucker punch. Metagross. Steven's eyes narrowed. Metagross reacted quickly, raising its massive claws in defense. Bang! A claw, wreathed in dark energy, struck heavily against Metagross's arms, forcing the Steel-type Pokemon backward with a muffled grunt. Darkness overpowers Psychic, this sucker punch dealt a solid blow. Please don't interfere with Maxie's retreat, Mr. Steven. Dylan's voice was calm, his smile polite and refined. Who are you? Steven's expression darkened as he studied the white-clad man before him, along with the Zoroark that had just struck his Metagross. That Zoroark is strong. Steven frowned. His Metagross was his current ace, his shiny Metagross had yet to be fully trained. But even with the element of surprise, this Zoroark had forced Metagross back. That alone proved its immense power. After all those artistic photos I sent you yesterday, Mr. Steven, have you already forgotten? Dylan's smile deepened. Steven's expression shifted slightly as he glanced at Wallace beside him, whose face twitched in realization. So it's him. Dylan. Wallace practically spat the name through clenched teeth. Nearby, Zinnia, already mounted on her Salamence, watched the scene with curiosity. What happened between Dylan and Wallace yesterday? Dylan. We had an agreement. You weren't going to send those photos anywhere. Underneath Wallace's elegant white cloak, his fists clenched tightly.
His normally composed and graceful eyes burned with fury as he glared at Dylan.
How could you go back on your word? You call yourself a champion-level trainer? And stop calling me teacher. You're the teacher.
Your whole family are teachers, damn it.
Wallace, I may need to reassess your intelligence level. Dylan sighed in disappointment.
I never sent those artistic photos to the outside world, did I? I merely shared them with your dear friend, Mr. Stephen.
Wallace. Stephen. Dylan, you took artistic photos of Wallace? Send them to me.
Sure, I'll send them to you later. Zinnia immediately chimed in, and Dylan had no hesitation.
No. Wallace was furious.
Those were his photos, damn it.
Shouldn't his opinion matter?
At this rate, all the grace and poise he had cultivated over the years would be completely lost in front of Dylan. This man is truly despicable.
Wallace, those are my spoils of war. I have full ownership over them. And I never broke our agreement. Dylan's tone was still gentle, his logic flawless.
Stephen found himself unable to get a word in. His best friend and Dylan's grudge was getting too complicated for him to keep up.
Don't get cocky, Dylan.
Today, I will personally see you locked up.
Wallace took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down as he addressed Dylan sternly. Oh? Less than a day has passed, and you're already this confident, Wallace? Dylan chuckled, glancing at Stephen. I see, having Mr.
Stephen by your side must be a great source of confidence.
Stephen. He had a feeling this guy's tone was extremely disrespectful. But unfortunately, Wallace, today is still a 2-on-2 battle.
And Zinnia is quite strong herself. Dylan adjusted his glasses, standing tall with perfect composure, his posture eerily reminiscent of someone else.
Ah, right.
It was a stance he had learned from Archer. Much respect, Mr. Archer. This really does give off an air of superiority.
She's with Team Aqua, why are you too?
Wallace frowned, eyes narrowing at the girl atop her Altaria. The sheer intensity of her Salamence aura sent a chill down his spine.
But wasn't she part of Team Aqua? Oh, that's another secret. If you and Stephen can defeat our first wave of battle, I might tell you.
Dylan tilted his head slightly, flashing Wallace a teasing smile.
Of course, if you lose today, then Wallace, you'd better be prepared.
I'm really looking forward to your photoshoot with Stephen, dressed in full women's attire.
The whole world will love it. Stephen froze. Wait, what? Stephen. Hurry up and take him down.
That wraps up this part of What If Transmigrated as a Kanto gym leader.
Thanks so much for listening.
As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well.
See you in the next one.